The tortoise and the hare meet Carrie will not be seen tonight in order that we may bring you an even more obvious morality tale. Welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek. We live in a weird little world, you know that? Without a doubt, right now, Marvel is the undisputed king of superhero movies. That said, DC is having a golden age when it comes to television, with shows like Arrow exploring the rise of the Green Arrow and The Flash giving us the daily exploits of the Scarlet Speedster. But it wasn't always this good for the comic book fan. 25 years ago, live-action superheroes were not taken seriously, as the only proven commodity was Batman. Still, there was the occasional spark on the superhero landscape. The Flash is actually the second go-around for Central City superhero Barry Allen. Featuring soap opera actor and future Dawson progenitor John Wesley Shipp, CBS aired a full season of The Flash. Even with decent special effects and costumes, it definitely veered into the more cheesy realm of storytelling. And without a doubt, two of its most popular episodes featured former Jedi Mark Hamill as the Trickster. The Flash managed to deliver a full 22 episodes of super speed fun, but the show was expensive to produce and brought in low ratings and was ultimately cancelled. Still, it's fondly remembered even to this day. When the CW announced it was relaunching The Flash in 2014, many old-school fans were delighted to hear that John Wesley Shipp had joined the cast in a recurring role as Henry Allen, Barry Allen's father. But then the unthinkable happened. It was announced that Trickster would return to The Flash and once again be played by Mark Hamill. So in preparation for this return, we're going to use this very special flashback episode, or should I say this Back to the Flash episode of Comic Book Issues, to review the 1990 Flash TV series episode, The Trickster. I haven't seen this episode since it originally aired, but I'm sure it's just as funny as I remember it.
Barry, it's Megan.
Hi, this is Barry. I'm out running around. Just leave a message.
Hilarious! Why did they cancel this show? Megan Lockhart, private investigator, calls Barry Allen. He's not home, but she needs his help. All of a sudden, a bearded Mark Hamill attacks. Barry and his scientist gal pal Tina are settling in to watch a movie when he hears Megan's message. The town she's at is 150 miles away. This is the first time he's covered that distance, and Tina's worried he can't handle it. But that doesn't stop Barry. On stage...
I am James Montgomery Jesse. Welcome to my world of illusion.
James manages his own applause and even heckling. It's never quite explained where he got exploding bullets for a pistol. He brings out Megan, trapped in a box, and prepares to chainsaw her in half for his magic trick. Music! Oh, those dark days in the 90s when every superhero score had to sound like it'd been farted out by Danny Elfman. James Jesse thinks he and Megan have done this multiple times before, but the Flash arrives to rescue her. Sound effects provided by the Three Stooges. Barry ties James up and thwarts his psychotic plans. Megan had been trailing James for her PI job, but he turned it around and began stalking her. The cops who arrest James tell how he suffers from multiple personalities and take him away. James is still proclaiming his love of Megan. Wiped out, Barry changes clothes and Megan drives him home. Tina's less than happy that Megan is there, and that Barry told her some of Tina's secrets, and that he invites her to crash at his apartment. Although he never does explain why his apartment resides in the bowels of hell. But a short while later, after some sped-up tossing and turning, the two hook up. And of course, hook up is 90s slang for getting it on. Well, let's talk the 90s and no appearance by the 90s kid. We can't be that lucky. Dude! He couldn't make it, but I'm here! The rip-off kid! I celebrate the lack of creativity in the world! Like how this movie is ripping off the films Batman and Dick Tracy by using similar music and color and lighting schemes. Totally awesome to the max! Well, that hardly seemed worth the effort. Driving to the state prison, James continues to obsess over the Flash. He wants to confront him and win back his woman. He picks his handcuffs, knocks out his guard, and shoots the driver. He finds the requisite conveniently abandoned prop warehouse and moves in. Convinced the Flash brainwashed Megan, James prepares for war.
But you'll never defeat the Trickster.
That's the stupidest looking costume I've ever seen! Oh! This might explain why I became a voiceover artist after this episode. Oh! Oh, still, at least it looks more dignified than his cockknocker outfit. The next morning, Barry and Megan are catching up when their brunch is broken up by Barry's co-worker Julio, played by 90s mainstay Alex Desert. He reminds Barry of the office costume party before Tina shows up, and reminds him that he invited her to that party. With Megan in town, though, Tina decides to bow out. At the police station, Megan and Barry run into two cops, Murphy and Bellows. Bellows is convinced that Murphy must be the Flash, to which the happy couple play along. However, the police chief lets them know that James Jesse has just escaped. Now calling himself the Trickster, he's convinced Megan is his sidekick Prank, and she's been hypnotized by the evil Flash.
To the Trickster-mobile.
Barry and Megan, who is feeling vulnerable, are in a park when the Trickster-mobile pulls up, dragging a giant present. The Trickster reveals a Flash statue and introduces himself as the Flash's new archenemy. Barry saves two children as the bomb in the statue's hands blows up. At police headquarters, Megan admits she was following James because he missed a car payment. According to Barry, the FBI has found that James Jesse has at least 6 other identities in 6 states. The chief of police blames the Flash for drawing costume nuts into the city, which Barry takes hard until word comes down that the Trickster has taken hostages. At a magic store, he's loading up on supplies, having already hanged one hostage when Megan draws a gun on him. The Flash arrives and saves the others, but the Trickster gets away with a smoke bomb and a gross of ball bearings. At Star Labs, as Tina patches up Barry's leg, she wonders how they can catch the Trickster. Barry doesn't want Tina's help, but likewise, a guilty Megan doesn't want his. She goes off on her own to find James. Barry's frustrated, but Julio assures him he's not supposed to know what women want. Then, FBI agent Bob Endicott arrives.
This Jesse's a real character, I'll say. He's the most brilliant criminal mind I've ever chased across 12 states. You know, they don't even have the San Antonio incident. Guy was nearly elected mayor in '88.
Excuse me, I am looking for the Last Angry Geek. Have you seen him? No, guys, it was me. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to fool someone when you're a master of disguise like myself. Not bad, eh? However, Endicott gets very upset when the chief calls Megan Barry's girlfriend. Megan, meanwhile, has found the Trickster's lair, even as the police have his fireworks-covered car cornered. Bellows and Murphy move in, only for Murphy to get caught in a Looney Tunes-style trap. When the Flash blows past Bellows, he's convinced that his partner is the superhero. The Flash puts out the fireworks, which seem unnecessary. They're fireworks. They go out on their own. He then finds a fake Trickster in the driver's seat. Earl the dog has Endicott cornered when Barry comes home. Endicott claims the door was open and Barry goes to check his messages. Let me explain. You see, back in the 90s, if you wanted to send information to someone, you had to dial a telephone. If they weren't home, a large, bulky answering machine would pick up and record your voice on something called tape. This is how people communicated before they learned to ignore each other and hurl monstrous insults on social media. We've come so far. The message is from Megan, so Barry and Endicott head out. She recognizes the disguised James, but he quickly manages to chloroform Barry. A confetti cannon then distracts Megan. We fade in on Barry upside down, hanging over an empty glass chamber, and Megan tied up in her prank outfit. She claims she hates Barry and loves the Trickster.
Jesse, you love me. Yes, I love you.
And you hate him!
He means nothing to me. Then let's kill him.
He turns a wheel and pulls a lever, and the tub begins to fill with water as Barry is lowered in. The Trickster takes Megan away as Barry comes to. He's able to vibrate fast enough that he breaks his handcuffs and the glass panel on the front of the chamber. The water and Barry come rushing out. Tina meets Barry at his apartment. They put aside their hard feelings when Barry assures Tina that his relationship with Megan won't ever affect their friendship. Tina wants to think logically, but it hits Barry. James is insane. They need to think illogically. As the Flash, he puts up signs around town challenging the Trickster to a duel at the very hotel where the police force are having their annual costume ball. Then there's more with Bellows and Murphy, but honestly, who cares? The Trickster sees these things and decides to kill the Flash before retiring with Prank for a long overdue honeymoon. Luke! Luke! I've shaved my beard and come back from the dead to tell you something, Luke. A little talk about the birds and the bees, or as I call them, the lightsabers and the sarlaccs. Luke, you don't have to be ashamed about getting a boner when Leia Frenched you, but you do have to be ashamed about Leia being your sister. Sorry about the lack of a heads up on that one, my bad. Luke! The chief of police is interviewed by TV's Timothy Stack when the Flash arrives.
Good job. Can I answer questions?
Disguised as a chef, the Trickster begins setting up trays and tables. Under one such table, Megan is all tied up. He sets off a gas bomb and focuses on Murphy as the Flash until the real Flash arrives. He quickly clears out the gas bomb.
I knew you were coming, so I baked a cake.
That could have been nasty. Do you know how hard it is to get buttercream out of red pleather? Well, I do. The Flash keeps on doing the Trickster's tricks as Megan gets loose. He takes her hostage, but she judos her way free. Using some candlesticks, the Flash juggles around the Trickster, eventually knocking him out.
Well, anyway, you can't be here.
Okay, but if the Flash is so fast, why couldn't he be in two places at once?
That's my costume. I'm the Flash. Won't somebody listen to me? I'm the Flash.
Megan and Barry admit they like each other, but Megan's not down with commitment. She's heading back to San Francisco, but they head back to Barry's for a long goodbye. And slightly less than an hour later, this superhero marathon has come to an end. The Trickster was so popular that they brought him back to close out the series with The Trial of the Trickster. But looking back in time, 25 years, were they right to cancel this show, or did the verdict fit the crime? Let's take a closer look. First and foremost, whatever problems I had with the show today, and I had many, you have to remember this was a product of its times. Batman had just come out a year earlier and everyone was looking to cash in. However, nothing else really stuck, and it wouldn't be until X-Men came out that superheroes beyond the Dark Knight would become a profitable genre. While not the case for the series as a whole, this episode did suffer from poor use of its two female cast members. Tina, normally the go-to science consultant, was reduced to jealous pouting and feeling useless as Barry turned his attentions to another. Megan, in a lot of ways, is even worse, projecting an air of self-confidence and independence, yet she's never able to defeat the Trickster on her own and regularly needs the Flash to save her. Granted, the show is called The Flash, but her emotions are all over the place. She berates Barry for feeling sorry for himself when James becomes the Trickster, but then goes and does the same, blaming herself after the Trickster kills a man. Also, the supporting cast was too bloated. The two cops serve as nothing but bad comedic relief. I don't think I laughed once at their little escapades. And the Chief was a one-off, always angry at Barry type of character. Julio's only purpose seemed to be to get excited whenever he thought Barry was getting laid. All in all, a pretty big waste. Our two male leads, however, were the episode's salvation. Although Ship tended to overact when he was doing the exhausted thing, he was good-looking enough to at least look the part of a superhero both in and out of costume. Ship was actually 35 when he started playing this role, as opposed to current Flash, Grant Gustin, who's 25. Actually, that means Grant was born when the 90s Flash was on the air. Weird. Mark Hamill brought a lot of fun to this role, balancing the menace of a psychopath with the comedic, over-the-top performances of a supervillain. Something that would serve him well with another famous role he would play. You could tell he was loving every minute of this performance. Still, the writing's very cheesy. Writers hadn't yet figured out that you could play things seriously and deal with real-life issues, even if your lead occasionally dressed head to toe in red leather. The lighting was trying very hard to create a look for this show, but it was much too heavy with the neon, something we'd see later on in the Schumacher Batman films, and the music was pretty similar to Danny Elfman's Batman score. Overall, just too dark for a character that was meant to be more lighthearted and fun. Still, if you look at the show as a relic and just enjoy it for what it is, you'll walk away having a good time, and that's no trick. I give the Trickster episode of the 1990 Flash series 3 out of 5 stars. Here's hoping I caught you up with everything you need to know about the Flash and the Trickster. This is Comic Book Issues, and I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek.